Hey, it's Andre, and it's time for another Friday flying update, but this one is going to be of a different tone and nature. Unfortunately, last week, as many of the Canadians know, we received an interim law changing the dynamic of the hobby. And while the literature and the forward-facing language all says drone, it affects our flying passion. Unfortunately, it is not just around drones, it is about RC flying. Anything above 250 grams, you're now limited as how you can fly and how you can use these. I found the language very negative, very un-Canadian, which was the word I used during the podcast. We were very lucky to have Brendan Shulman from DJI on the podcast with myself and Chris and Mike to talk us through some of the changes and some of the reactions from the industry, because there was no consultation, there was no chance to just make the situation better. It was, here's a new rule as of Thursday. The irony is, I think it was earlier in the week I was talking to my wife and I was saying how excited I was for 2017. It'd been several years of building and getting a bunch of things in together, and finally all the FPV equipment was ready and all the planes were just how I wanted them, and everything was going to be awesome, to use a Lego term. And Thursday morning we all discovered that no, it wasn't going to be awesome anymore. It was going to be very different. And my single biggest concern, outside of being a safe pilot and respecting all these different rules, is the fact that in the literature that they put out, they said, if you see anybody doing anything wrong, call 911. Well, that is terrible advice. That is terrible way to do it, because even if I'm in the right and doing something proper, anybody sees us now at a park or anywhere and decides to call 911, well, now we have to deal with the situation. There could have been a whole lot better means and methods and just more logic to it. Right now, we're working, a lot of people are working to try and establish a better means to communicate with the government and talk about the situation and see if there's any way we can implement some changes and influence some kind of logic here. The best campaign method we've discovered so far is something called NODE, the NODE campaign. That is something a DJI initiated and is helping along. And it's primarily was designed to work in the U.S. Well, now we've got a Canadian component of it. So I spent a lot of my time earlier this week just connecting with people on a higher level, because I saw a lot of little campaigns coming out, little signature petition things coming out, but multiple. We don't need multiple voices or multiple strategies. We need one strategy and a common method. So that is my piece of advice right now. Give everybody time to figure this out. Give everybody a time to have that conversation. By all means, abide by the rules. Put your identification into the aircraft. Put your MAC address, put your MAC number, your phone number. I'm really leery about the address thing. That is probably something that really upsets me, because there's got to be some layer. I have no problem putting my email, my phone number, everything, but my home address, that's a whole other ball game. That's my home. That's my family. So I'm hoping that area will be adjusted, because that's just a little too much over the top for me. We'll fly within the requirement parameters of staying away 75 meters from buildings and everything, and the 90-meter altitude's always been there. So, but now I'm really leery about taking my DJI Phantom out. I love flying that thing. I probably will still fly it over top of the farm fields that I've always done and those other fields that you've seen, but obviously some of the patterns will have to change to adjusting for the buildings, and even flying the RC planes. I'm still going to fly my RC plane, but we're going to be ultra cognizant of the surroundings and the people around us. So I'm looking forward to some clarification in these rules, because they were a little crazy, a little just, it doesn't look like it didn't feel like there was logic to it. It was, okay, here's what we got, but there was no strategy, there's no communication plan or nothing. So that's really disappointing, because Canada went, in my opinion, from a leader as far as suggested rules and regulations and logic to thou shall not anymore, and really dropped us down the pegging order of what Canada was as far as a leadership role. So ultimately, it's affected me. It has really affected my point of view. It's really affected my mood. I didn't do an update last week because I was just, I didn't know what to say. I almost didn't do this update because I still don't know what to say. I still, I want to fly my airplanes, and if it comes down that I have to rejoin the MAC, the local MAC group, and drive a half an hour to get there and deal with all the dynamics of another club, which I don't want to, I will. Or maybe it's going to be time that we start a whole new club in my area and just go find land and rent and stuff like this and just get it over with and just do it that way. So I don't know what the summer holds as far as flying locally. I know I've got 2 flight fests and my trip to Ohio, which I'm super positive about because, hey, I know the property where we can fly, and there is no issues there because I know the property owners. So we'll get out and just still go, and I know my summer's going to be busy with those things. It's just really unfortunate because I had such a positive outlook about what 2017 was supposed to be about, and it feels like we've gone way backwards. On a side note, I guess the GT6 is going to see a little bit more love and wrench time for me, but that was already in the plan. So I'm sorry, it's not a positive update. I want to talk about some of the new planes that have come in and stuff like that, but I just had to get this off my head. The 3D printer will come back online too. I did get my belts, but again, I haven't even been down in the workshop, and I'm shooting in a different location because the workshop is a complete mess. And I just haven't had it in me to sit down and work down here because it's just, I've been so focused on trying to come up with a logical means to address this problem. So watch the podcast, sign up for Node if you're Canadian, and just be aware and follow the rules, and we'll get through this, I guess. Thank you for everybody who's come out in positive messaging and everything that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, or last week, I should say. It's meant a lot. So, and I guess we'll figure it out. We'll get back on it. We'll sort it all out, and we'll adapt because that's what we do. So that's it for the Friday flying update. I do apologize for not being so happy-go-lucky and rah, but that's what I got today. So if you get out flying, man, throw a battery in there for me and all your fellow Canadians, and stay safe, fly smart, have a good weekend. Thanks.